Welcome back to the Pack Chat, our student voice opinion segment. I'm joined today by my co-hosts Sam Mack and Victor Martinez, as well as our guest co-host Claire Mallet, as we discuss this week's most trending topics. With that being said, let's get started. First, the new rise in COVID cases in the U.S. has some states entering another full lockdown. With the national COVID cases at 11 million and the deaths just close to 250,000, we are seeing California announce that they are entering back into the phase of restrictions on the state's citizens. Do you guys think that we will see other states follow this lead? And how would you guys personally feel about another lockdown?
I think that if we had another lockdown, it'd kind of be because all we're doing is just weakening our immune system. That's why I believe, there's other countries that have proved that if you kind of just ride out the storm, that you're going to be completely fine. And I think that this was expected, they opened up schools and all this. I don't know what they're thinking, that with schools open, that COVID was just going to go away and, no cases were going to happen. So
Yeah, that's definitely a really good point. I think we can see, a ton of cases coming from schools. And yeah, I definitely do think it's interesting. We obviously see that, a vast majority of celebrities do live in the great state of California. And I don't know if y'all have seen them out partying and whatnot, but they have. And so I definitely think that that is contributing to the rise of cases there. California and Texas, though, they are very close in cases. They're both at 1 million. So, do you guys think that we could see Greg Abbott follow that lead, or do you think that's something that he wouldn't do?
I think it's a possibility. I think that it's much more likely that California would go under lockdown, but I would not be surprised if Abbott said we're going to go under lockdown. I think that hitting 1 million cases is kind of a big deal. And it's not surprising because California and Texas both have some of our most populous, they're one of our most populous states. But yeah, I personally, I wouldn't be mad at a lockdown. I think that if it's appropriate, then it's definitely something we need to do. But ideally, at this point, we wouldn't have to do it anymore. And yeah.
I definitely agree. And, especially the talks of a vaccine coming soon, I wonder if we would even get to that point of where we would have a lockdown in Texas. Mm-hmm. Next, Wayne County, a huge county in Michigan that is home to Detroit, has decided to go ahead and certify the county's win for Joe Biden. This comes after several calls for them to certify that county with Biden's lead of 130,000 votes. This will essentially end the debate on whether Trump can come back in that state and win. There have been several claims that the media cannot call the election, and several people were not thrilled. How do you guys think we can see this play out with states like Georgia who are conducting a recount? And do you guys trust the Associated Press or AP calling the election for other states?
Yeah, whenever certain states and certain counties and everything are close enough and they have enough reported votes where you can clearly tell that there's no way that another candidate is going to switch, that's when media sources call that state. And that's the reason that they were able to call the election. And everybody says that I've heard a lot of people talking about how, well, the media doesn't officially call the election, and that's true because the electors have to go vote in December. But every year, the previous president or whoever, whichever candidate lost, always gives a concession speech, and they concede in November whenever the press calls the election because that's what it's going to be. Even though the electors haven't officially voted, the press can determine based on how far of a margin there is in certain states and how many votes have been reported, what the outcome is going to be in those states. So that's what that means there.
Yeah.
So when people make that argument.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I think it's very interesting that the Associated Press has called the presidential elect every year. Every election. I find it a bit interesting that this year suddenly the media can't call the election. You're right, the people do, but all they're doing is, passing on who the people voted for. Mm-hmm. And then finally, two companies, Pfizer and Moderna, have announced that they have seen good results with their COVID-19 vaccine. Pfizer is looking to have at least 40 million vaccines distributed by the end of this year, with the first states being Rhode Island, Texas, New Mexico, and Tennessee. With the talk of the vaccine, people are questioning who should be given it first. With experiments done by Bloomberg, they questioned whether the vaccine should be given to frontline workers and children first because they have the most contact with people in a day. What do you guys think about this, and are you hopeful for that vaccine by the end of the year? I mean, obviously the talks of who would get the vaccine first have obviously been frontline workers, and that will definitely stay as it is. But, you know, kind of the question of who should it go to next, because, you know, a lot of people were thinking, you know, the elderly or high risk people. But if you think about it, kind of people are questioning what good would that do if they only come in contact with one person a day, two people a day, you know? And it's reported that children have the most contact with people in a day. So technically, I mean, if a child had COVID-19, they would spread it a lot more than anyone else. So, I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I think as far as like how hopeful I am, I've heard what Moderna's like 95.
Yeah, they're both around 95.
Yeah, I think that that's some really good news. And yeah, I am hopeful. As far as who should get it, I absolutely agree that frontline workers who come in the most contact and are, you know, the most at risk should definitely get that first. And then I think just like whoever goes out, like whoever is kind of at the highest risk and whoever goes out the most, whoever has the most, you know, who will spread it the most, I think that they should probably have a vaccine as well. Ideally everybody at some point, but I think first, yeah, those people who are spreading it, who are not, you know, going out and stuff.
I think it's kind of like a toss up because like there is the argument that like the people who could spread it easily should have the vaccine first, but then there's also like elderly and other like even younger people that are just at higher risk, maybe have like some kind of immune disorder or respiratory disease, like, you know, it would definitely, I think it would be important for those people to receive a vaccine as well, because like that might be younger people who are going out more, but they're the people who are like more likely to develop severe symptoms. So I don't know. It's like there are like two sides to the argument, I guess. I don't have a definitive stance on it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I guess we will find out very soon, hopefully, fingers crossed. And that's all I have for today. Remember, T-Wolf Pack, there's always time to chat.